Welcome back, everyone. It's the Bourbon Judge. Hey, we are back at it with brand new release from Heaven Hill. Yes, Heaven Hill, brand new release. I'm actually excited, honestly, that Heaven Hill came out with some new products. I think it's needed, right? They are a large, huge distillery, so extremely excited that they came out with some new products. In particular, this whole brand new Grain to Grass series. So let me go ahead and open this one real quick and just pour a little bit into it. All right, so what do we know about this entire new lineup? So Grain to Grass, they came out with basically truly 3 different versions of this Grain to Grass. Number 1 is the rye, number 2 is the bourbon, and then number 3, what we're going to review today, is the wheated bourbon. So 3 different expressions. Again, brand new release in the last month here. What I'm excited about for this one is that what this really kind of honestly stands for, right? When you think of grain to glass, essentially what they're trying to do is focus a little bit more on transparency into the whole whiskey making process. In particular, the specific grains that they are getting for this entire series. They work with a company called Beck's, right? So Beck's Seeds, and they work with them. Beck's Seeds. They took their seeds, and the cool thing about it is that the seeds themselves, from a farming perspective, is actually grown directly across the street from Heaven Hill, right? So that's one cool thing about it. So very, I guess kind of, being very transparent again into the whole whiskey making process, letting people know, hey, exactly where they're getting their seeds from, again, from Beck's seed company, as well as into the grain, and then the whole growing process using, the farms that are directly across the street, from their facility. So I appreciate that. So when you think about these 3 different expressions, 3 different expressions that are out there, this is the only one that I saw on the shelf, hence the reason why we're reviewing it today. But there is, again, the rye, the bourbon, but we're going to dive into the wheated bourbon. Cool? All right. Let's go ahead and get into this one real quick, the wheated bourbon. So what do we know about the wheated bourbon, Judge? So the cool thing about this, first and foremost, I like that. Goodness gracious, nose is nice. I popped this open and I poured just a little bit into my infinity bottle, as I do with most brand new bottles that I pop. But the cool thing about this is that it does actually have a higher wheat percentage compared to their other wheated bourbons, i.e. a Larceny. So in my mind, I'm kind of comparing it to a Larceny, but by itself, again, just from the mash bill, it has a higher wheat percentage than Larceny or any other wheated bourbon coming from Heaven Hill. So the exact mash bill in this one is 52% corn, 35% wheat. Yep, you heard that correct. 35% wheat and 13% malted barley. So it's bottled at exactly, this is 121, right? Yeah, exactly 121 proof on the dot. So bottled exactly at 121 proof. The age, most people are probably wondering, well, Judge, what is the exact age, roughly, if you will? The exact age they say is aged a little bit over 6 years. So over 6 years, again, is over across the street, across the street, I should say, from the Heaven Hill Cox Creek Rick House site. Oh man. MSRP. So the MSRP on this one is anywhere from 100 to about $110. I think technically the MSRP is supposed to be about $100. I paid $110, so it's just a few dollars more. But $100 bottle, supposed to be, from what I've heard, much better than Larceny. That's just what a lot of people are saying in the whiskey community, but we shall see, folks. I have not sipped this one as of yet. All right, so $100 to $110, brand new grain to glass series, non-chill filtered. Let's get into the news. What are we getting, Judge? So first and foremost, as I get from a lot of different wheaters, very much a heavy, almost I always get 2 things a lot of times from a wheater. First and foremost, I always get almost a raspberry kind of a note, a raspberry meets a strawberry kind of a note. And then there's a good influx of baking spices in there as well. So it's a raspberry meets a raspberry meets a strawberry, almost some baking spices. Almost a very, almost a dough kind of a note, almost a bready kind of a note in there. Not bad, though. The only difference of, I would say, Larceny, with Larceny, I always get, a good bit of, pepper In the nose, I don't get as much pepper in this one, and maybe because they're using a lot more wheat in the mash bill, maybe that's the reason why. But with this one, I'm not getting a ton of not a ton of pepper at all. It's more dough focused, more baking spices, raspberry, strawberry. All right, on one way to dive into this one. Hey, real quick, 3 quick easy favors. Number 1, hit the like button. Number 2, drop me a comment. Let me know what are your thoughts on the brand new Heaven Hill Grain to Glass series. Have you tried it? If so, what are your thoughts? Last but not least, please make sure you all subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you get notification each and every time I release new content. Cool? All right. Cheers. Ooh, I like that. Okay. A little sweeter. Slightly more notes of like the raspberry, strawberry notes. Definitely there. Some peppery notes also in the back of the palate. What's the proof on this one again? 121 proof. All right, 121. I like that. Let me get a little bit more. Oh yeah. Great representation of the nose matching the palate. You get a good combination of like the baking spices, almost like honestly like a dough kind of a note, like almost like a bready kind of a note, a bread dough kind of a note. Strawberries, some raspberries in there as well. The pepper notes are there, not as much in the nose, a lot more in the palate, but still a good even blend across the board. Let me get a smidge more. Wow. To me, gosh, this is so much. It's honestly, in my opinion, way more of a pleasant experience compared to Larceny, and more well-rounded as well. By the way, that bottle design is pretty damn cool. Just looking at that, gotta love the bottle design. All right, Heaven Hill, stepping your game up a little bit. Not bad at all, Heaven Hill. That's pretty cool. So to me personally, number 1, Judge, is this a buy? Is it worth the MSRP? I think flat out it's worth MSRP, $100. I wouldn't go crazy. Let's not pay secondary prices. I would not pay more than like $125 for this, but like $100, $110 at MSRP, absolutely, definitely worth it. And then number 2, do I think it's better than Larceny? I'm giving 2 gavels. Absolutely, it's better than Larceny. In my opinion, it's more of a well-rounded, wheated bourbon experience compared to Larceny. Larceny kind of fits directly into like I'm a traditional wheated bourbon. This is more of a well-rounded wheated bourbon, right? It has like the sweetness, but it has the spiciness as well that's in there. It has like the baking spices as well. To me, this by far is way better than Larceny. Just in my personal opinion, I think this is way better of an overall experience compared to Larceny. Hey friends, until the next time, as we say in this courtroom, peace, cheers, most important. So take care. See you guys.